We started our research by observing thriller films and using Wikipedia to find out about the historical aspects of thrillers. Then we researched the key conventions of an opening title sequence, mainly using Google and Wikipedia. Wikipedia had a lot of valid information that was very relevant for what we were doing. The college's internet site also provided us with a lot of information we could use in our planning. It is full of web links and PowerPoints giving us a broad range of information. We looked at some thriller films on YouTube, taking into account the features of an opening title sequence. YouTube also played an important part in allowing us to upload and display videos. We used the BBFC website to research the thriller film's target audience and age ratings. We used this to give us an idea of who our target audience was. A Flip Video Ultra was used to record our pitch, which was then uploaded onto YouTube and placed on the blog. The blog and Facebook were used for communicating with one another. The blog was mainly to keep our work in one place and show our progress along the way.
We used a Sony HC7 camera for our prelim and the final piece. It was good to use the same camera in the prelim and the final piece because it meant that we could experiment with it and learn from any mistakes. It was also useful as it was continuity filming, and we learned how to sequence shots together so that it was quicker to film and easier to edit in the final piece. We learned how to use exposure properly so that the shots didn't look too light or too dark, and we also used white balance manually, which was important so that the tones of light balanced properly and didn't look too blue or yellow on film. We used a soundtrack for most of the prelim, with dialogue in the final scene, which created suspense as the character travels towards a room and sits down to have a conversation with another character. We used a boom to record a short conversation and then used Wildtrack in the editing suite as there was talking in the background. We also chose a thriller-esque soundtrack from Incompetech, which we thought represented the final piece. We found some sound effects like a woman's scream, which we incorporated into the flashbacks.
In the post-production stage of the project, I used Premiere Pro software to capture the footage and edit it into a timeline, and eventually the final opening title sequence, Animus. In the edit suite, I used Mac software to run Premiere Pro and found it easy to use after a small bit of edit training. I captured the video from the video camera easily in the capture edit area on Premiere Pro. This stage also allowed me to re-watch the footage for the first time. I then could go through and cut and remove the shots that were bad or jumpy and were not needed in the edit. I was able to set an input and output on each clip so that I could select a certain part of the whole shot that then could be dragged and dropped into the timeline. Once all the shots I wanted were on the timeline, Premiere Pro allowed me to swap, cut, overlay the shots in the way I wanted to create the effects I was looking for. That's good when creating jump cuts, fade, dips to white and black to make the film flow more. With the timeline in Premiere Pro, I was able to layer titles over the clips that were playing on the screen. By using the title tool, I was able to write in what titles I wanted, but also change the scale, fonts, colours and placement so that they would add to the film and not distract at all. We also used soundtracks and the music we wanted to add to the tension of the film. We found static motion from Incompetech and Foley and background sounds from the sound bank that could all be placed in the timeline over clips and titles.